Hello and welcome to the handover video for your Globecar Globescout R. We'll start on the exterior of the vehicle, we'll work our way around and then go into the inside. Starting on the near side of the vehicle, you'll find down below here there's a metal rod. You get a handle, goes onto the metal rod, turns through 45 degrees and that opens the sluice to the grey tank, allowing you to empty the grey tank. So having ensured that the blade is closed, the cassette should come out nice and free. To empty the cassette after you've taken it to the waste disposal point, unscrew the cap. You'll also find on the end of the cap there's measurement markers for adding your toilet chemicals to it. To empty the toilet cassette, hold it with your left hand, right hand, depress the button to release the airlock, allowing waste material to pass through the end of the cassette. Having put the correct amount of dosage of chemicals in here, place the cap back on, allowing the chemicals to flow into the cassette. Add about a litre of water to activate the chemicals, agitate the tank to get a good mix, return the waste pipe to the home position and the cassette too, and it clicks home. And that's your cassette procedure. Just above the cassette hatch, you'll also find the flue for the Truma boiler. It's quite normal during operation on gas to see a plume of hot air rising from here, or even condensation and steam, and sometimes you'll get a little trickle of water coming down here. Never be tempted to hang anything over there. If you block the flue, then the boiler will sense the back pressure and emergency cut-off procedure will kick in and the boiler will switch off. On the same level as the flue is the electric hookup point. Always plug into the vehicle first, then carry the dead end to the hookup point and plug in then. Never plug in to the hookup point and carry a live end across potentially wet grass and ground to reach the plug-in point of the vehicle. The fuel filler cap is located beside the passenger door. It's not part of the central locking system, so you don't have to unlock the vehicle to get access to it. You do, however, require the Fiat key to unlock and remove the diesel cap. There's a conveniently placed little hook on the bottom of the flap to store the cap while you fill the vehicle with diesel. Once filled, return the cap, turn the key and close the flap. Staying on this side of the vehicle, there is the bonnet release here. And while we're here, just underneath the passenger seat, you'll see the 12 volt fuse box with the individual blade fuses for the 12 volt appliances in the habitation area of the vehicle. To access the under bonnet area, simply pull down the lever, which will release the bonnet to the first position. Having done the first position release inside the cab area, place your hand underneath the bonnet in the centre of the bonnet to release the yellow catch, which allows the bonnet to come up and be fixed in place. So, the only thing you're likely to have to do under this bonnet is put washer fluid in here. The brake fluid, the steering fluid and the coolant fluid should really only need topped up during service periods. Oil filler cap on top of the rocker, and hidden down behind here is your oil dipstick. The vehicle battery is located under the footwell on the passenger side of the cab area. It's quite difficult to get access to if you have any reason to jump start the vehicle. So the vehicle comes with remote posts. Down here, if you take the Fiat key, there's a little tab. Put the key in the tab and it releases that cover. Up comes the cover, and that blade is the positive, connected to the positive terminal of the vehicle battery. Across here, there is another bolt which gives you a grounding or an earth. So that's where you connect your jump leads if you ever have to either offer somebody a jump start or jump start your own vehicle. Controlled from inside, but part of the outside features of the vehicle, is the electric step, the button for which you'll find just inside the habitation door. Press and hold to retract the step, and press and hold to put the step out. Don't worry about ever driving away with the step out, because once you put the key in the ignition, There's an audible alarm which will continue to sound until the step has been fully retracted. The water tank for the vehicle is situated in the rear corner on the driver's side, well the fill point is. The water tank's an internal tank which allows the vehicle to be used all season round. There is a key on your key ring for the water tank. Just simply replace, lock, and then no one can, kids sometimes do, stick twigs and leaves and things in it when you're on a campsite, pesky children. The water tank has an internal drain point which I'll show you when we go into the rear of the vehicle. The water tank is located underneath the bed in the rear of the vehicle. Under this hatch you can see the water tank. There is a red access hatch which you can unscrew anti-clockwise if for any reason you ever have to clean the inside of the tank and get your hand inside there with a nice big sponge and just some ordinary soapy water to clean the inside of the tank. You can also just feed in tank cleaning tablets and liquid through the neck of the tank in the same way as you would just put water into it. Now, there's instructions on the access hatch that show you how to open and close to drain the tank. The valve is in the corner. If you turn it anti-clockwise 2 full turns, the entire tank will drain. Turn it clockwise until it can turn no further. That closes the valve and allows you to fill the tank with water. Water is weight, weight is fuel, fuel is money. If you're travelling to Skye, the water's as nice in Skye as it is anywhere else, if not nicer. So why carry all that weight and water with you? 20 litres is more than enough for you to stop, make coffee and flush the toilet if required. Turn the handle 3/4 of one turn from the closed position and that will drain the tank down to the 20 litre mark. Located in the rear of the garage space underneath the boiler, you'll find the frost protection valve. Notice the blue lever on the top is in the position of the water flow, the pipes going in and out of the valve. If the internal temperature inside the vehicle drops below 3 degrees Celsius, this will pop round to a 90-degree position across the pipe and that blue button will pop out. That's what you do manually also if you're wanting to drain the tank for winter. If this has happened and you have to reset it, first thing you do is get the temperature inside this space up to at least 8 degrees Celsius, 10 degrees to be safe. Then you reach in, reset the top button and then push in the lower one. And that is your frost protection valve reset. And you would do the same thing in the spring if you were filling up the van with water for the first time. Gas tank is on the other side of the vehicle to the water tank. Well, gas tank, it's a gas locker. This particular vehicle comes with 2 bottles. One is a standard 6 kilo Cala gas bottle. The other one is a Gaslow refillable bottle with an external refill point. The refill point is very unobtrusive. It's disguised as part of the bumper, as you can see here. With a dual regulator, you can have gas flowing from both bottles at the same time. The downside of that is when you run out of gas, you completely run out of gas. And the indicators on both bottles are in the rear of the vehicle. So there's nothing actually in the cooking area or the heating area where the controls are to indicate what the state of the gas is. So the easiest thing to do is have one as a primary bottle, one as a secondary bottle. Have the primary bottle on all the time. When it's empty, if you're near an LPG station, you can fill up again. If it's not, you can go onto your Cala as your spare until you reach an LPG station, refill and then go back over. As you can see on this bottle, it's practically full on the gauge. The arrow on the regulator is pointing to the pipe that goes to this bottle, indicating this is the primary bottle, and gas will be drawn from this bottle. When this bottle is empty, the gauge will automatically look for an alternative gas source. If this bottle has got the valve shut, as it is here, then you need to open it so that you get gas flowing. when you're using the secondary bottle, you simply turn that arrow round to that side. It just gives you a visual indicator as to which bottle you're drawing gas from. At the moment we're on the primary bottle, so we'll point to that side of the regulator. This little brass turn there is the open and close valve for this bottle. Always make sure that the habitation door is closed before releasing the awning. As you'll see, as it starts to wind out, the awning drops down and it will catch on the top of the habitation door. Wind out the awning until it is approximately head height. At that point, you can then release the legs from underneath the pelmet. This style of awning, the legs are released in the far corners. Draw the leg out from the corner, bring it round, undo the locking screw to drop the foot down onto the ground. Push the leg out to an angle of about 45 degrees. Repeat the process on the other side. Then continue to walk and wind out the awning. Once you have the awning at the desired position, ensure that you make one leg higher than the other. If there is any rain, then rather than pulling in the middle of the awning, the water will run off because you've created a slope. To replace the awning, it's simple, a reverse of the same process, putting the legs back a 45-degree angle and then start to wind the awning back in to its cassette. Stopping when you reach about the halfway mark to put the legs back into the pelmet. Just above the habitation door on the interior of the vehicle, you'll find the first of two control panels. There was originally two control panels here. The previous owner had this control panel relocated to the bedroom area, which actually makes a lot of sense. When you wake up in the morning, you can turn on the heating if you're cold. So we find a master switch for the 12 volt supply. Always put on the master switch for the 12 volt supply before doing anything else inside the vehicle. If you try to switch on the heating without having this on, the heating looks for its 12 volt supply, it can't find it, it throws an error code, and then you have to do a reset. Three little buttons on the side, they are all indicators. First one indicates battery condition, and that is leisure battery condition only. It's showing 13.5 volts, which is good for a 12 volt battery, but that's because we're plugged into mains, which is also indicated by that orange light there. Freshwater tank, 100%, I filled it up before today, and grey water, empty. Now, if we were showing 50% here on fresh, and I press this, it would indicate 50% as well, as the fresh and the grey water tanks are about the same size. The Dometic 2-ring gas cooker on this Globecar does not come with a pitot igniter, so you need to get yourself an external lighter or a box of matches. Push and turn the gas to high position. Once it's lit, hold it in for a few seconds to allow the thermocouple to heat up, and then you then have operating gas down to a peep and back up to full on both. There is no automatic safety cutout on this lid, so make sure you have the gas switched off before closing the lid, and make sure that this has cooled down before you close the lid. It's very important. This is safety glass. It will shatter if you have a flame on and you close the lid on top of it, or if you close the lid on a very hot burner. It shatters safely in little hexagonal pieces, but they go absolutely everywhere. The oven grill on this model is a Thetford. There is no igniter for the grill, so to use the grill, again, push and turn to the side of the grill and use your lighter. Hold it in for a few seconds to allow the thermocouple to heat up, then release. You now have a working grill. The oven, on the other hand, works with the igniter. Hold it for a few seconds again, and now you have an oven. Once more, make sure that it is completely cool before you return anything, such as the grill pan, which has stopped rattling by this bubble wrap. You put that back in when it's still warm, the plastic will melt. We have a three-way fridge, Dometic fridge on this machine. First position, as you turn the selector dial round, is mains electricity. Obviously it only works if you're plugged up on a campsite. It's a good idea the night before making a journey to plug in at home and turn the fridge on to mains and let it get down to temperature overnight before starting your journey. As you're travelling, turn it to the battery symbol. Now it doesn't actually run off the battery, it draws energy from the alternator as the vehicle is being driven. And finally, gas. Select the gas position, press in, this is the thermostat to control the temperature. Pressing that down acts in the same way as pressing and holding the dials on the cooker. Press and hold, and press the igniter and hold that as well until the orange line crosses into the green area. Then you can release the igniter. Keep your finger on the other one until the needle stops moving. Once the needle stops moving, you can release this lever too, and then adjust the temperature to whatever you want. The further round you are, the cooler the fridge will become. As long as the orange indicator stays in the green section, the fridge is happily operating on gas. The locking mechanism for the fridge, it's over on this side, little green lever, you push it up, that pops up, freeing the fridge, and you can then open the door. There is two little holes on the top here, which if you look down on the top you might be able to see. The outer hole is where that lever locks in down there when the fridge is closed. The inner one allows you to keep the fridge open slightly, and that vents and stops the fridge from smelling when the vehicle is in storage. Before switching on the water heater, you must make sure that there is water in the boiler. The order of the sequence in which you should do that is fill the water tank, then switch on one of the taps, switch on the 12-volt supply to activate the pump, and then open one of the taps. Turn the tap to the hot position, open it until you get continuous flow of water. When it starts to flow, it'll spurt and there'll be air in it. But once you get continuity of water flow from the tap, you know the boiler's full. You can then shut the tap down again and switch on your water heater, which I'll explain how to do so now. Relocated from above the door to the sleeping area are your controls for the hot water and for the central heating. It's a duo system, Combi e-boiler, electricity and gas. The top one selects your choice of fuel, the lower one, that's what you want to do with the fuel once you've selected it. There are 5 positions here. The position in the middle is gas, and that's gas only. If I turn the outer bezel to the first position here, we're now running on 900 watts, or we're drawing 900 watts electricity. If I take it to the 2 wee lines, you're now drawing 1800 watts. Think of that as a 1 bar and a 2 bar electric fire. The 2 bar will obviously be hotter and it will use more energy. If you're on a campsite, however, you're not metered, so you're plugged in, you may as well use the electric. If you are off-grid, run everything on gas. If you are particularly cold, or if you're wanting a shower quickly, you can use combination fuel, both at the same time. The first position is gas and 900 watts of electricity, and this is gas and 1800 watts of electricity. We'll just go to 1800 watts electricity as we're plugged in, and we'll use that to demonstrate how everything works today. Coming down to the lower dial, the outer dial of this, the outer bezel of this dial, if you turn it up to the 40-degree mark, not surprisingly, will heat water up to 40 degrees, and this light will come on, and that light will come on, and those lights will stay on. That indicates everything's working fine. This indicates that you have yet to reach temperature. If I turn it up to 60, you'll get water at 60. Now water at 40 is more than adequate for washing dishes. Water at 60 is what you want if you are going to have a shower. Now, winter time, you want central heating and hot water, so you turn the dial down. The first position, the little flame symbol there, indicates that the heating is on. You now have a green light here and an orange light there, and as I turn that, you'll see numbers shining through the green light. That is your thermostat. 1 equates to about 19 degrees Celsius, 17 to 19 degrees Celsius, and 5 is about 28 to 32 degrees Celsius, depending on the ambient temperature outside the vehicle. The final position down here, 60 and the flame, is central heating and hot water. That will be enough for you to do the dishes, have a shower and keep yourself warm in the van. And again, this orange light has come on, indicating that everything is okay, and that will stay on until the water reaches the appropriate temperature. Then that light will go off. And if you don't want anything, you just turn it to the off position. Underneath the beds and just above the boiler in the rear of the vehicle, you'll find the trip switches. These are the 230, 240 volt trip switches that you can test by pressing the test button once you're connected to see if you've got good earth supply at your campsite. It's also the fuses that will trip if for any reason you overload the system or you touch a light switch with wet fingers. To use the WC in the van, once you've brought the two doors round to create the WC space, the bowl itself can revolve to give you enough knee room in the front. To operate, lid up and open the blade. Waste material goes straight into the tank below. The button at the back will flush water to rinse the bowl, bringing the water from the freshwater tank. There is no separate system for the WC. Close the lever when finished. Close the lid and return this to that position for transit. There's a light at the back which will come on when the cassette is full. So let's have a look at the cab area now. The mirrors, there are 4 of them, 2 on each side, 2 large and 2 small. Looking at the little joystick here for adjusting them, there is 5 positions. There's the off position in the middle, the travel position. If I click round to the first position, it adjusts the main mirror. Second position, the lower mirror. Position 3, the lower mirror on the passenger door. Position 4, large mirror on the passenger door, and then back to the travel or off position. Once you've selected the mirror, you move the joystick to adjust. Electric windows, passenger and driver, and internal locking button here. When you're inside the vehicle, pressing that will lock the vehicle at night without setting any alarms. This vehicle isn't alarmed, but if you had an alarm fitted, that would bypass the alarm. To close the blinds on the window, pinch, draw across, meeting the blind from the other side in the middle. There's a magnetic strip. They'll meet together and stay closed, giving you privacy across the windscreen. Make sure before travelling that you get a good click and the blind is well home. Otherwise, you turn the corner, the blind will shoot out and obscure your view. Similarly, on the side of the vehicle, pinch, slide the blind out along its runners. Blinds are made of paper. They're fairly robust, but they are made of paper. So treat them gently and always use 2 hands, making sure, again, it clicks home solidly. Moving to the dashboard, windscreen wipers are on the left-hand side of the steering wheel. Adjustments for your main headlight beams up and down, fog light switch, and the mode button to toggle you through the various modes of the trip computer on the dashboard, and also allows you to change things like the temperature settings from Celsius to Fahrenheit, the clock from 24 to 12 hour, and so on. On the left hand side of the steering wheel, we have the light column. Simple flick switch onto dipped headlights and then pull and push if you want to go to full beam, and otherwise up and down for indicators. Below here, or below the indicator, you'll find the control stalk for the cruise control. It has a simple off to on position. The vehicle will not go into cruise control until you prime it by flicking up or flicking it down. There's a plus and a minus here. If you're travelling at 60 miles an hour, you engage cruise control and flick it once. It will hold the vehicle at 60 miles an hour. If you come there to a dual carriageway section of the A9, say, by pushing it in the plus direction and holding it, the speed and cruise control will climb until you release it when you hit 70, and similarly when you're coming back to 60, pull it down and hold till you reach 60, then release, and that's the speed that you will stay at. To cancel, press in the button here, or switch it off, or press any of the pedals. There's a similar control for a maximum speed, which you can set if you're travelling in a 20 mile an hour zone, say around the school zone or in a conservation area. Set the maximum speed to that, and as you drive up through the gears, when you reach 20 or 30, whatever you've set it to, you'll just stay at that speed. But if you take your foot off the accelerator, you'll slow down. So it's not cruise control, it's just a cap on your speed. So this vehicle comes with a 6-speed manual gearbox. To select reverse, fingers on the collar, pull it up, across and up, and when you select reverse, the reversing camera will come on automatically. So out of reverse, into reverse. It takes a little while to catch up if you don't have the stereo system on. If the stereo system is switched on, it's instantaneous. Outer dial on the left hand side of the air control is temperature. Inner dial is fan speed. Outer dial is direction of airflow. Inner dial is either recirculated air or 100% fresh air coming in with each cycle. If you're using the air conditioning, it's advisable to have the fan on because it won't work without it. See, fan off, your con goes off. Air conditioning, recycle. If you are recycling already cooled air, you won't use as much energy. Energy is fuel, fuel is money. So fresh air coming in if you're not using the air conditioning. If you're using air conditioning, recycle. Hazard warning, another interior lock. That no longer operates a heated rear mirror, window, but it does operate the demist function on your wing mirrors, and that's your hill start assistance. Over here we have a USB for charging your phone, but it is connected to the vehicle battery, so at night if you plug your phone in there it won't charge. 12-volt power socket similarly. Glove compartments, top and bottom. The top one, as always with the Fiat Ducato, is vented to the air conditioning, so if you've got a cold bottle of water, keep it in there and it will keep it cool. And that concludes the handover video for your Globescout from Globecar. Thank you very much for choosing Highland Camper Vans for the purchase of your camper van. We hope this vehicle will bring you lots of miles and lots of smiles. We're on the end of the phone if you ever need our help. Enjoy your new toy.